All right, so we're gonna go over your review. If you see a problem that's highlighted, that means it is going to be on your test. It's gonna be one exactly like that one on your test. So if you look at the first one, it says find the perimeter of the rectangle. So in order for us to find the perimeter or to be able to add up all the sides, we need this, which is 38, plus this side over here we know is gonna be another 38. And then these two sides should also add up. Okay, so whatever those two sides are, we don't know what it is. So to find the perimeter, we're going to add 38. Oh, I still want to write plus 38 plus whatever those two numbers are. All right, so we're going to go ahead and find it using a squared because it's a right triangle plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so from there, we're going to take a. We don't know what a is, so we have a squared plus b we know is 38 squared equals, and then 44 squared. Now, to save us a little bit of time and a little bit of space, since we don't have a lot of space, I know when we do 38 squared, it is going to come out to a big number, so I'm just going to do a squared. We are going to subtract the 38 squared. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So minus 38 squared. And so these cancel out. And we're left with a squared equals 44 squared minus 38 squared is going to give us, let's see, 492. And then we try to take the square root of 492 and see what it gives us. It gives us 22 point something. So we're going to go ahead and reduce this 492 and see what is divisible by 492. So if I try it, I believe 492 is the same thing as the square root of 4 times 123. And then we can take the square root of 4 and get a whole number, but we can't take the square root of 123. So it's going to be 2 in the square root of 123. So here we're going to set it up as 2 in the square root of 123. Okay, those are the other two sides. All right, so then once we add them all up, we can add up the 38s. 38 plus 38 is 76. I'm going to go ahead and write it down here. So it's going to be our perimeter equals 76. Plus, we have 2 plus 2. That gives us 4 and the square root of 123. 123. All right, the next one. So here, it says starting from the same location, Laura walks. I'm going to erase all this to get out of the way. Laura walks 120 yards south and Karen walks 232 west. So Laura walks 120 yards south, so this is going to be 120. And then it tells us here Karen walks 232 west. That means this is 232. And then it asks us what is the distance between Laura and Karen. So then we are looking for this distance here. So we're going to do the same thing. Now, because this is a real world problem, we can go ahead and write this as a decimal. So it's 120 squared plus 232 squared equals c squared. So 120 squared plus 232 squared gives us 68,224. This is equal to c squared. And then our last step is to take the square root on both sides. So we take the square root, and that gives us 261.19. So 261.2, and our units are yards. All right. All right, the next one. It says find x, write your answer in simplest radical form. So if we look here, this is a triangle and it is cut by this line right here, which is x. That's what we're looking for. And so they told us that this whole thing is 18 from here to here. So if this is 18, then we can find each piece. Since these two sides are the same, that means this should be equally split in half. So that means that this is 9. So now we can use a squared. This is my a, this is my b, and this is my c. So we can use 9 squared plus x squared equals 17 squared. And then we're going to go ahead. 9 squared is 81 plus x squared equals, and then 17 squared is 289. We subtract the 81. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So it cancels out here, and we get x squared equals 208. And then we see we take the square root on both sides, and we're going to go ahead and simplify the radical. So we're going to see what two numbers multiply to give us 208. So 208, I believe is, we can divide it by 16. So that means it's going to be the square root of 16 times 13. And the square root of 16 gives us 4. And the square root of 13. All right, on the next one. So here it tells us which equation below is true about triangle ABC. So what we're going to do is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that's true. So this b equals c minus 8, that is not true. So this one says all of these, that would be a lie, and C cannot be our answer choice either. So we're going to go ahead and check A and C. So if we solved for A, meaning we got the A by itself, we subtract the B squared on both sides. We got A squared plus, no, not plus, A squared equals C minus B squared, C squared minus B squared. And then we take the square root to solve for A. That way the square root and the square root cancel. And we get A equals the square root of C squared minus B squared. And so if we look at our answers right here, 1 is definitely true. Okay. Then we have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And this time we are solving for C. So here, C, we take the square root. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. And so here the square root and the square root cancel. That means that the C is equal to A squared plus B squared. So that means this is true. So 1 and 2 are true. The answer choice is D. The next one says a city playground is in the shape of a right triangle. The city wants to put a fence around the playground. You know what? There's going to be one on your test like this. So the city wants to put a fence around the playground. The posts for the fence need to be 6 feet apart along the fence. Approximately how many posts do they need? So here is 40. This is 82. And we don't know this side, but we're going to have to find the perimeter. So we have to find that side. So we're going to do 40 squared plus 82 squared equals C squared. And then in our calculators, we go ahead and put 40 squared plus 82 squared, and that gives us 8,324. And then our last step to solve for C is we take the square root. So the square root of 8,324 gives us 91.2. So that means this is 91.2. So the perimeter all the way around is going to be 40 plus 91.2 plus 82. 22 plus 40, that gives us 213.2. And so now we're going to take all the way around and plant a post every, it says 6 feet. So every 6 feet, we're going to plant a post, and we want to know how many posts we're going to use. So we're going to go ahead and divide that by 6. And when we divide that by 6, that gives us 35.5. So if we look at our answer choices, the closest to 35.5 is going to be C. All right, the next one, it says, the map below shows 2 different routes Miss Benston can take to drive to the airport from her house. How many miles could Miss Benson save by traveling on Airport Road instead of Mountain Highway and Oak Road to get to the airport? So Miss Benson usually goes this way and then up to the airport, but there's a shortcut that'll give you a straight shot going from here to here, which is 65 miles. So in order for us to figure that out, first we need to find the missing side using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So a squared would end up being 25 squared, I believe, is 625. B squared, we don't know, equals, and then 65 squared gives us 4,225. So we subtract the 625 on both sides, and we get b squared equals 3,600. And then we take the square root, and this is actually going to give us b equals 36. So now Ms. Benston, when she travels 36 miles this way and then 25 miles up, 36 plus 25 is going to give us 36 plus 25, 61. So she goes 61 miles traveling to the left this way and up 1. But she, oh, it's not 36. I'm sorry, guys. This is 60. I don't know what I was thinking. The square root of 360 is 60, so this should be 60. So then 60 plus 25 gives us 85. And so she could be traveling 65 miles if she went a straight shot. So when we subtract those, that's 20 miles. So she is saving 20 miles by taking the shortcut. All right, this next one tells us to find LM. So they want us to find the distance from here to here. Okay. Now, if you notice, we have 2 separate right triangles. I have one right here, and then I have one on this side. And they want us to leave it in simplest radical form. So on this side, we're going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 28 squared plus b squared, we don't know, equals 35 squared. And so to save some space, I'm just going to subtract the 28 squared on both sides minus 28 squared. And we get b squared equals, and we're going to do 35 squared minus 28 squared. And that gives us 441. So when we try to divide 441 by any perfect square, or we can take the square root, actually, the second square root of 441, that gives us 21. So b equals 21. So on here, this is 21. Now we're going to find the other side. So on the other side, we have 100 squared, or so 28 squared plus b squared equals 100 squared. And so 28 squared, 28 times 28, that gives us 784. Oh, I should have done that like the other one. Plus b squared equals 100 squared is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 10,000. We subtract the 784 from 10,000. 74, 9,216. And we can check to see if we get a whole number, and we get 84.9. That's a shame. Let's go ahead and take the square root. So b equals, let me see, square root of 9216, 96. Sorry, I put in the calculator wrong. So that means this is 96. So then the whole distance from here to here, 21 plus 96, that's going to give us 117. So let's see, it says find LM. LM is 117, and our units are centimeters. All right, the next one, it says find D. Leave your answer in simplest radical form. Okay, so this one is a lot like, well, this one we can just use straight Pythagorean theorem. And we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now this one I can tell right away is one of our special rights. So this is your Pythagorean triples. So this is 3, 5, and this is, that'll make this 4. Okay, now I'm going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared to find d. So 6 squared plus 4 squared equals d squared. And then from there, 6 squared is 36. 4 squared is 16, and this is equal to d squared. 36 plus 16 is 52. This equals d squared, and we're going to have to simplify this. I'm going to see if 52 is divisible by 4, and it is. That's going to give us 4 times 13, so the square root of 4 times 13. Now we can take the square root of 4, but not the square root of 13. So 13 will stay trapped inside the square root, and the 2 comes out. That would be our answer. All right, on the next one, it says find x, leave your answer in simplest radical form. So we're looking for this piece. Now, the way that we are going to find it, let's see, we know, that's a good question. So we know this is 12, this is 13, so we can find this missing side, and I believe that's a Pythagorean triple also. If I'm not mistaken, this should be a 5. Okay, using your Pythagorean triples, you can use a squared plus b squared equals c squared if you want, but I automatically know that. So then if that's 5, then that means this is 20. So now we're ready to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared on this side. So 20 squared plus 12 squared equals x squared. So 20 squared plus 12 squared gives us 544 equals x squared, and then we take the square root. Now let's see if we can take the square root of 544. No, it gives us a big number, so we're going to go ahead and divide 544. I'm going to try 16. That gives us 34. I think there's probably going to be a bigger number. 544 divided by 16, 36 maybe? No. 64? Not 64. I think that's it. Yeah, 16. So 16 times 34. The square root of 16 times 34. Now we can't take the square root of 34 and get a whole number, so we're just going to take the square root of 16, which is 4, and 34 will stay in the square root. And that would be your answer. All right, the next one. Use the converse of the Pythagorean theorem to classify the triangles as acute, right, or obtuse. So on here, we're going to take the two smaller sides, so that's your A and your B, and then the 8.5 is going to be your C. So we're going to do 8.5 squared, and then we're going to leave the part in between blank to see if they're equal, less than, greater than, and then we're going to do 7.5 squared plus 4 squared. So 7.5 squared plus 4 squared gives us 72.25. And in the middle, we don't know. And then on the other side, we're going to do 8.5 squared, and that gives us 72.25. So because both of the sides are equal, that means that this is going to be a right triangle. All right, we do the same thing for the next one. So this is 17. So 17 squared, we're going to see what sign is going to go in the middle. And we're going to do the two smaller sides, which are 7 squared plus 15 squared. So we plug that in our calculator, and that gives us 274. And then we leave the part in the middle blank, and 17 squared is going to give us 289. And so 289 is greater than the 274. So when that is bigger, that means that this is going to be a big angle. So that means this is going to be an obtuse triangle. And the last one, so we take the two smaller sides, which are the 12 and the 18, and we're going to see if those two, when we add them together, 12 squared plus 18 squared, if that's the same as or bigger or less than 21 squared. So 21 squared is 441, and then in between we don't know. And then 12 squared is 144 plus 18 squared. That gives us 468. So 468 is bigger. So 441 is less than 468. So that means this is going to be an acute triangle. All right, so these next ones, this is going to be our geometric mean. So it says find the value of the variables. Round your answers to the nearest tenth. So we're actually allowed to leave these as decimals if need be. Okay, on your test, you will get this little chart that we have here that we used in the past, which are these ones. These will be on your test for you to use when it's appropriate. It'll have them there when you need them. And then this one up here at the top. Okay, so you don't have to worry about memorizing them. I did leave a poster for you guys to check your work on. So let's go back to the review. All right, so this is X right here. So this means that, and then this one will be our A, this one will be our B. So it is going to be A over X equals X over B. And A is 4. X we don't know, that's what we're looking for. And then our B is 7. We cross multiply and we get X squared equals 4 times 7 is 28. We take the square root and we're going to get X equals the square root of 28 is 500. All right, number 14. So on number 14, they tell us that this whole thing is C. So that's what we're looking for. We know this little piece right here, we can call it A. And so A is always connected to Y. So we're going to do A squared, no, not A squared, we're going to do Y8. We should start with A. A over Y equals Y over A. No, Y over A, Y over C. Y over C. That's a formula. So we go ahead and cross multiply, so we get Y squared equals A times C. And so Y squared, we know what Y is, it's going to be 30 squared equals A is 14 and C we don't know. We put in our calculator 30 squared, that gives us 900. This is equal to 14c. We divide both sides by 14. And 900 divided by 14 gives us 64.3. So C is equal to 64.3. Also make sure that your answer makes sense. Does our answer make sense? If we would have gotten like a number like 3, it would have made sense for this side to be only 3 units long. It would definitely have to be more than 14. And number 15. So we're looking for Z. This is our Z. That means that this piece connected to Z is B. And then we need the whole thing from there to there, which would be 13. And so the formula is going to be B over Z equals Z over C. So B is 5. That doesn't look like a 5. 5Z, we don't know. That's what we're looking for. And then we know the whole thing, C, is 13. So 13 times 5 is going to give us 65. So Z squared equals 65. Oh, 65 is one right. And then we take the square root and we get Z equals the square root of 65 is 8.1. All right. Moving on. We have another one of these. This one has several numbers. I'm only going to do one of these because it seems a little bit repetitive. So let's see. Starting with this one, we know this is 8. This whole thing is 10. And we know this piece is 6. So we have to go off of the information that we know. So we know this is 8. We can go ahead and find this side, which is connected to the 8. And then we know the whole thing, which is 10. So our formula that we're going to use is why do I keep messing this up? This is going to be A over Y equals Y over A. And we cross. Oh my God, there we go again. Y over C. I don't know why I keep messing up this formula. So Y times Y is Y squared. And then A times C, we don't know. Well, we'll just leave it as A times C. I'm going to plug in what we know. We know Y is 8 squared equals A. We don't know. That's what we're looking for. And C is 10. 8 squared is 64 equals A times 10. We divide by 10. And we get A equals 6.4. Okay. 6.4. So then that means that B, we can find B right away. If we do 10 minus the 6.4, because we know that whole thing is 10, so 10 minus 6.4 gives us 3.6. So now we're ready to, now we need to find X. I believe that's the only one that we're missing is X. So we have A, we have B is 3.6, so now we're just missing X. And so the formula for X, let's see if I don't mess this up this time. The formula for X is A over X equals X over B. And we plug in what we know. So 6.4 over X equals X over 3.6. We cross multiply. We get X squared equals, and then we multiply 6.4 times 3.6. That gives us 23.04. We take the square root and we get X equals the square root of 23.04 gives us 4.8. Okay, I'm going to skip the other two because it's a little repetitive. All right, the next one says determine the distance across the lake. So we're looking for this distance from here to here. And based off of the information that they give us this is 6 and this is 4. And I'm assuming this is a right angle here so that we can use that theorem. Okay, so this is our X, this is our A. So on here we are going to do A over X equals X over B. Okay, we're going to cross multiply. We're going to get X squared equals A times B. X is 6, so 6 squared. equals a, which is 4, and b we don't know. So 6 squared is 36 times 4b. We divide by 4, and that means that 9 is equal to b. And I think that's it that they're asking us for that one. Number 20, determine the height of the tree. So they tell us this is 1.6 and that's 7.8. So again, this is going to be our x. This is our a, and then this side is our b. So a over x equals x over b. We know that we're going to cross multiply. X squared equals a times b. We know x is 7.8 squared equals a. We don't know, that's what we're looking for. And b we know is 1.6. So 7.8 squared is going to give us 60.84. And this is equal to a times 1.6. We divide both sides by 1.6 to solve for a. And we get a is equal to, dividing by 1.6, that gives us 38.025. So rounding to the nearest tenth, that would stay as a 0. Meters for the units. Right, this one will definitely come out on your test, of course, different numbers. So we're looking for the measure of angle 1. They tell us this is 48, so that means this angle is also 48. We know the 3 angles in the triangle should add up to 180, so this angle in here will be 180 minus the 48 minus the other 48. Okay, so we have to subtract the 48 twice. And that gives us 84. So that means this angle is 84. Now this angle makes a straight angle with angle 1. So that means these two angles should add up to 180. So since that one's 84, that means angle 1 should be 96. Because 180 minus the 84 equals 96. And that would be your answer. Number 23, it says 2 airplanes leave the same airport heading in different directions. After 2 hours, one airplane has traveled 710 miles and the other has traveled 640 miles. Describe the range of the distance that represents how far apart the 2 airplanes can be at this time. So we have the first airplane flies, say he flies this way, and he goes 710 miles. And then we have another airplane that travels, say, in this direction, and it is 640 miles. So we are looking how far could they possibly be apart. So this is our triangle theorem, where these 2 legs have to add up to more than the third leg in order for this to make a triangle. So if we do 710 minus 640, that's going to give us 710 minus the 640, that is going to give us 60, 70 is less than, so 70 miles is less than, x is less than, and then we're going to add the 2 numbers, so 640 plus 710, and that is going to give us 1350, so 1350 miles. That's your range for your distances. Okay, for similarity, it tells you UTB is similar to LMK. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this real quick so we can look at the letters. So from UT, here's UT, it's going to be the same as LM because of the order of the letters. So that question mark is what we're looking for, and we're going to put that over 117 because those 2 are directly proportional. Now the next one is UB. So UB, that means that's the same as LK. And here is LK. So that means we're going to set it up 60 over 100. What is that? 130. And then we're ready to cross multiply. So 130 times x is 130x. 117 times 60 is 7,020. And then we divide both sides by 130. And we get x equals 70, 20 divided by 130 gives us 54. Okay, the next one, we're almost done. We have 3 more problems. It says find the value of x. So we are looking for this side. Now they do give us angles, and I think they just give us the angles so that we know that so see how this one's 51 and this one's 51? We can find the third angle by subtracting them from 180. That makes this one 44 and this one 85. So that's just to give us an idea of which ones match up with which. So x, because it's the 85 and the 51 angle, that one's going to go with this side right here. Those two are directly proportional. And then this one, 85 to 44, the 9.3, 85 to 44 would be this side right here, which is a 3.1. And then the other side, we don't need it. You can use it if you want. It doesn't matter the order, but as long as you keep everything matched up. So x over 2.8 equals, since I started with this triangle on the top, I have to start with the 9.3. And on the bottom, it is going to be the 3.1. And we cross multiply. So we're going to get 3.1x equals, and then 9.3 times 2.8 is 26.04. We divide both sides by 3.1. And that gives us 8.4. So x equals 8.4. All right, so the next one says, in the following, find the measures of the angles, and then they tell us that AB is parallel to CD. So it says these two are parallel, meaning that this angle must also be 46, and then this angle will be 72. So I can put this in here. And then these are all right angles in here, all the way around, the same here. And so all we're missing is these angles up here. So if that's 90 and this is 46, if we do 180 minus a 90 minus a 46, that is going to give us 44. And then we do the same thing on this side, and this one ends up being 180 minus the 90 minus the 72. That should give us, I believe, 18. And so we're going to answer the question. CAB, C to A to B is going to be, oh, we haven't, I thought we filled them all in. We're missing this one right here, which is CAB, which is the one that we're looking for. And so it is a straight angle with the 46. So that means 180 minus 46 is going to give us 134. So that one in there is 134. 134. And then CEF. So CEF is this green angle that we found right here. That one we said was 44. And then we have E to B to A. That one we said is 72. And last is DEF, which is the orange angle in there, which is 18. And the last one says, which of the following equations represents a line that creates a right triangle with the two lines shown? So in order to make a right triangle, that means that it needs to intersect one of these lines at a 90-degree angle. So we're going to go ahead and find the slopes. To find the slope, we're going to find 2 points on the line. It looks like these are 2 points. So the rise goes up 1. Is 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is 1/3. So if we have a perpendicular slope or a slope that makes a right angle with this line, the slope has to be -3. A perpendicular slope, would be -3 over 1, which would just be -3. Okay. Then we count the slope for this line. So the slope for this line, we find 2 points, is a point right here and right here. So when we count the rights overrun, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the slope for this one is 3/4. So a perpendicular slope would be the opposite, and this one's actually negative because our line is going down, so it would be the opposite sign, which is going to be positive, and then you flip the fraction. So that's what we're looking for in our answer choices. So -3 and 4/3. So it says, which of the following equations represents a line that creates a right triangle with the two lines? And you know what? Both these, there's two answers to this one. Interesting. Down 3 to the right 4. And so it would be both of these. I don't think that's going to happen on your test where it would be both. But, well, for sure. But there will be a problem on your test that's like this. But you won't have two answers like this. Okay? If you have any more questions, you can see me in the morning. I think that's it.